Hey, everyone. We are live and welcome to the Seven City Shoptalk Sports Show, broadcasting live from the beautiful state of Virginia to you all over the world. And of course, I'm your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson. Looks like I got AB with me, one of my co hosts, on the line here. We may have a few other hosts jump in as well, but we've been taking a little bit of a summer break here, but we're going to try to strike it up, start the engines up, and get this thing running again. Of course, being that uh, seems like the only thing we have going here is pro baseball, and some other sports that are typically things. Well, actually, college sports are at a relaxed state right now, but we're ready to get this thing going. But before we get it started, we want to thank you for joining us in another episode of our brand of dysfunctional camaraderie. And as of now, this shop is open. Of course, like I said before, I'm your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson. Of course, we got AB in the house. How you doing, AB?
I'm great. I'm glad we're back. I've missed this.
Yeah, me too, man. It takes sometimes when you're out of it for a little bit, takes a little bit, take a little bit of a rest, and you're kind of like, all right, I'm ready to jump back in. And it only takes, well, especially since we've had some things going on, in the world of University of Virginia sports. So yeah, it's definitely sometimes we might want to say something, but we don't have a show, so we have to kind of, table it until the next week or two. But yeah, we're finally in a position where looks like we got some sports coming back. The time frame is coming back around for football. They're still recruiting tough on the recruiting trail. So let's go ahead and talk about our topics for today. Topics, first of all, we're going to have an open discussion about UVA sports in general. Of course, there's a lot of changes. We have a lot of coaching changes. We had a lot of leadership. Leadership changes going on. We want to get an idea of how you feel. Okay, there's one of our hosts jumping in here. I got Ed in the virtual room. There's Ed jumping in from out of the virtual room. What's going on, Ed? How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay for an old man.
Yeah, man. Good seeing you. Got trying to get the team, trying to get the band back together. Trying to get the band back together. Looks like Wood may jump on as well. But yeah, this is Ed.
Mr. Fabulous going to be joining us.
Absolutely. Fabulous Freebirds. Absolutely. Well, we got Ed. Ed is our resident writer here at Seven City Shop Talk Sports, and we may have Ed pumping out some more articles because it's definitely UVA has been writing worthy, write worthy as far as all the information that's been coming out, from the school. Now, remember, we are a sports program, but remember when we've had tragedies happen or we've had different things happen that are kind of outside of the spectrum of sports, we will talk about things that are pertaining to sports in the university and about the University of Virginia, but also things are very important about the world. So please don't sleep on us. So we will open up the conversation for everyone, including those out there, viewers and listeners who want to get involved. And speaking of that, all my people that are in the chat, please feel free to drop your comments in the chat. We'll even conversate a little bit with you. Sometimes we may even send you a link if you want us to, and let you come on here live. But let me continue with some of our topics for today. We're going to talk about the state of Cavalier sports with all the changes. Where are we? What the hell is going on? And are you proud, of your Cavalier sports? UVA football still on the recruiting track, on the recruiting trail, doing really well, it seems to me. And I know that is, I may get checked on that, by Wood, but I just, I just feel like the team is doing a better job than what they have been. But we'll get into that as well. Also, we'll talk about, we're less than 60 days away from football. Back at Scott Stadium for the kickoff of the season, less than 35 days away. I believe 35 days away from practice starting up for the Wahoos as well. Then we're going to get into UVA basketball. Coach Odom had a interview today for everyone to kind of get a little closer to him, try to speak with him and figure out where he is, give everybody an idea where he is, with the program. And then you know, with the resignation of President Ryan, that's another topic we may bring up. And then, of course, AB and I will make a little bit of an announcement of a possible another show on the horizon, Seven City Shop Talk branded, and see if y'all want to be involved with that. But Ed, how are you doing, man? The shop is open, and I want to get my man Ed in. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing okay, man. It's been a bit of a struggle, but we're doing okay.
Okay, the struggle is real. The struggle is real.
Yeah. I mean, I had to take father-in-law to the emergency room today. It's just
Oh man.
it's he. Long story. He has a medical condition, and every once in a while it flares up, and today was just one of those days. So off to the
Okay.
ER we go.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, God bless him, and let's and we'll pray for him. And but we're gonna keep this baby running. Let's get this show going. So right off the bat, let's jump in with the open forum discussion. This is for all of my viewers and listeners out there. Let's
Uh-oh.
just talk about the state of the University of Virginia sports. Now we can start with football, baseball, basketball. We've had major changes in all major sports. So this will be a real
Yeah.
round robin of the three major sports at University of Virginia. Not saying that the women's sports are not major, but these three sports have had the biggest changes that have gone on outside of football. But there's always a ton of turmoil with the football program. But I'm gonna let you kick it off, Ed, since you're our elder here. What do you want to tackle first when we're talking about the University of Virginia's sports programs? Because, like I said, we got a lot to talk about here to take out here.
In a year where we have Coach Bennett leave and have Coach O'Connor leave,
Mm-hmm.
and if Chad were here, he would say, and Coach Elliott didn't leave. The sun still came up. We're going to miss Coach Oak, and Lord knows we appreciate what he's done. But I got to say, the new guy seems to be doing reasonably well. He's not, he obviously doesn't have a national title under his belt, but the recruiting is going pretty well. It's some sort of a hodgepodge of Duke recruits and our recruits and Duke transfers. So it's encouraging. Of course, we thought this 2025 team was going to be, Omaha bound, and we didn't even get close to Omaha. So we'll see. It's encouraging though. The what's that kid? Last name was Garcia, I think. He's like the number 8 recruit for Baseball America.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember he's an outfielder. I can't remember his last name. I think it's Garcia, but I won't swear to it. We thought we thought it was all over when O'Connor left, and you would like to keep him, but the guy from Duke is pretty good. We thought Tony Bennett leaving was just it's over. It's done. Turn off the lights. Don't even bother wasting the gas money.
Party's over. You know what it
I
says?
don't know. I don't sing. But I know where you're going with that. I don't know what kind of team we're going to have, but I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be closer to 94 feet of hell than it is boring basketball. I didn't think our basketball was boring to begin with, but some people do.
I think most people do, but
I don't care what most people think. We got a national title with it.
That is true. Now that is the one that we can, they can stick in their pipe and smoke.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Dutch kid, not Dutch kid, Lord. Belgium. Yeah, Vander. I can't think of the kid's name. Anyway,
Theus. It's like Theus or Thias. I think it's Theus de Ridder.
It's 6'8" kid. He's 22.
22 was projected to be a second round pick in the NBA draft. Now, and we'll dig a little bit into that as well in our basketball segment. But you're right, with what you're saying, basketball turmoil. But picked up a coach that a lot of people did not think was picked up a baseball coach a lot of people didn't think we could get.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Uh,
And there was it was a side note on him. Apparently, he used to be the baseball coach at Appalachian State when
okay.
Appalachian State came into Charlottesville and beat us in our
Yes.
sub regional.
Yes, this is true. That's
So
right.
the guy can put together teams and win. So I mean, I'm encouraged. We'll see what it looks like when it gets on the field, but I'm encouraged.
Well, let me bring in AB, lady of the house. So let me talk to you about, this University of Virginia sports landscape. In your opinion, what do you think we got going on here?
So you know that I'm the type of person where I just have to wait to see. So it's more or less give them the opportunity. We've already hired them, so it is what it is. We just have to wait until the season comes about and give them a chance to show us what they're capable of doing for the University of Virginia. So I'm not gonna make comments on what I hope to see because they are new coaches coming to a new school. Hopefully that they can continue on the traditions and expectations of the University of Virginia. But right now, I don't have any set expectations.
No, set.
Yeah, I mean, I do think we got quality hires, so especially baseball. I really liked that. We immediately jumped on getting a gentleman who I feel like represents himself and would represent our school well. So I look forward to seeing what he does with the baseball team. But outside of that, I mean, I'm curious about basketball, but
Right.
we'll see. My opinion on football. So again,
What's that?
Well, I mean, give us a little bit of an update, AB, on I mean, we know your baseline stance on the football program and the coaching that's been going on there. But has anything shifted some, changed a little? Um, you know, maybe shifted your opinion a little bit?
No.
No.
You know
No.
me. I mean, I'm as blunt as they come, as real as they come. So I mean, I'm just gonna give my honest opinion and say no. I mean, I feel like we have given him a couple years to show us something, and if we don't see anything this year, especially after all the money that we have put out, like, okay, well, now we've sold our soul to this NIL stuff. So if you can't put a product on the field that can win games, I mean, are you the coach for us?
Yeah. He's out of excuses at this point.
Are you the coach for us? This is the question. And is it you? Is it Elliot? Or is it who you have under you? Because in my opinion, we've had some good coaches under him. I mean, I think we've got a really great defensive coach. We have a good running back coach. I really like him. But I mean, offensive coordinator, we're not doing anything on offense. So, I mean, they say defense wins games, but I mean, yeah, it's kept us in games, but you have to score. So if we're not scoring, that's a huge problem. So I expect more from our offense, especially the money that we've dropped to get players here for the offense. If we are not doing something, then it's not the player problem. It's a coaching problem. So.
Right. And I understand that. So, from a baseball standpoint, I know you don't watch too much baseball. How do you feel about, the coach that they brought in for the baseball team, baseball program?
I mean,
and how they've done it.
Duke had a good team. I mean, we jumped quick to get him, and we knew that we had to have a good coach. We knew we had to have a quality coach, and I mean, I just look forward to seeing what he can do. I mean, honestly, like some of the coaches that we've had, they didn't come in winning. I mean, they had to take the time to build the program to be what they want it to be, and I don't know what that looks like to him. I just know that he had a successful season last year at Duke. So, hopefully he can transition that to UVA.
Let me ask you this, Ed, really quick. The I was thinking it was the Duke. Was it the Vanderbilt coach who made a controversial comment that kind of put him in a in the rear view with UVA, or was it the Duke coach? Was the Vanderbilt coach?
I'm not sure.
I think it was the Vanderbilt coach who had made a comment that was controversial, and I think UVA was tracking on him, and I think that because of the comment, they may have put.
I'm thinking of the I'm probably mixing it up. I'm thinking of the guy from Florida. I think it was Sullivan or O'Sullivan. I think his name is.
I'm gonna do a little quick research right now.
Okay. Yeah, I can't.
I'm thinking that it was the Vanderbilt coach.
Okay, could have been. Could have been. I was. That's the type of guy you'd want to get anyway. That's performing at a high level at an academic institution. It's maybe not him, but somebody like him.
It was a Vanderbilt coach.
Was it? Oh, okay. What did he say?
Dan Jackson recently made comments on social media defending Kanye West's anti-Semitic statements. That's not going to go well in the AB space. It's not going to go well in this climate we're in right now. So,
yeah, son.
Yeah. He say, "Damn, son." Yeah, that's one of those "damn, son" comments for sure. But you think about it as well. For my opinion, even if, let's say, the coach from Vanderbilt, Jackson, didn't say anything, don't you think that they would have still wanted the Duke guy over the Vanderbilt guy? I think that the Duke guy was like number one, right? Was still the number one target. If anybody has anything different, any information on that, let me know. But I thought for sure that the Duke coach was their number one target.
He was on my short list, but I didn't think we'd get him.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure he was like the number one, but I think if we knew, we didn't think we would get him because of how well Duke did. I think everybody thought he wanted to stay and try to build off of that.
Right. And that's what I feel too. I felt like because they have had a lot of success recently and have been one of those programs that have been a thorn in the side to the University of Virginia, that I just didn't think UVA was going to be able to pull them, but they did. And like Ed is saying, the recruits are coming. A lot of Duke guys, quite a few guys came to the University of Virginia, decommitted from Duke and committed to the University of Virginia. Virginia still kept some of their players and kept a few of their players, and also kept some kids that are also on the recruiting that they were recruiting on the recruiting trail as well, which to me, that's a win-win, and that's what you can get. Wood is saying what? Pollard was definitely number one. He's from Amherst and wanted more out of Duke, and they wouldn't do it. Dream job for him. There you go. Wood, where are you? Wood, jump in here. We're talking about baseball, dude. Now, he might be out. Now, Wood may be out at the field with his kids. That's why he's not jumping on. But yeah, he's right. And Wood would probably know, would know better about it being the Pollard being the number one guy that we wanted. And like you said, being a Central Virginia guy, having him was paramount and him wanting to be here with us. So it was a match made for all of us. And that's going well. So I'm excited about it. I'm really, really excited to see what this team is going to come with. Now, as far as the NIL money and the distribution of it and who gets what, what portion goes to who, that's going to be S show. And I don't know, what we're going to do with that. He says, better recruiting than O'Connor so far. Okay.
Whoa,
is right. I wasn't expecting that. He says, let's see here. Wrapping up dinner, but trying. Okay, all right. Wood's coming, y'all. Here comes Woody Claus. Right down Santa Claus Lane. Yeah, we ain't doing
Damn, what's
nothing
gonna
but
warn
cracking
somebody?
up here. Woody Claus, come on through, brother.
Woody Claus.
Woody Claus. but you know, from my opinion, you know, I feel like Wood's laughing. So for me, I'm actually excited for change. And don't viewers and listeners don't take this wrong when I say this. Um, I love the university, right? I follow the university. I cover the university. I've had kids that have come through this university, have done very well for themselves. Kids that I've coached, kids that have made a life for themselves outside of the university after they've graduated. It's a premier university in the United States. You know, what do they say? A University of Virginia degree, you can do anything in this world. No one's going to hold you back. Everybody's going to take you just because you got that UVA on your paper. So the change aspect of, well, let me start over. What things that I felt UVA could do better, okay, was not necessarily get some of the traditions, but build on the traditions from what the school already was. They're already establishing who they was, their principles, how they do business, and UVA never had to bow down or never had to curtail or change anything that they do when it came to business, sports, education. No matter what, UVA is going to be UVA. But as this landscape has kind of morphed into what it is, it seems like UVA has, and this is a word that I'm going to use, and some people do not want to hear this and they may not like it. UVA has evolved. Okay. In my opinion, I think UVA is evolving as a school at this point. We're in the middle of a little bit of a mini renaissance in what we think this university is. And that's why I asked the question earlier. I said, are you happy with the state of UVA sports? Are you happy with what UVA is doing and what they're going through? And I get it. Some people are going to be upset with the AD. Some people are really upset with, you know, the coaching decisions that have been put in place from the past few years. But I kind of look at it as, you know, even if the coaches that are in place aren't doing the best, think they're doing the best job right now, I think the next coach is probably going to be someone that is of the times of now, where UVA needs to go to get to the level they want to get to. It's obvious sports. What are you saying, Ed?
Are you saying that they've had some time to evolve in this current environment, and they're not starting up at ground zero like everybody else, or
they're not starting up at ground zero because they, you know, their coffers, or, you know, their pockets are full. You know, they have the money, they have the resources to do whatever they want at that university. They are not strapped for anything. That's one thing about University of Virginia is they do things on their own terms and at their own pace. So they've never really had to worry about, you know, we don't have the money for this, or, you know, the question was, will you please do something different? Will
spend
you,
some money?
can you please, like Ed said, spend some money? Can you please do something a little different with, and I'm gonna say it, diversity? I know people don't want to hear that word, but right, will you please do something a little different to give us a different result? Now, I'm not saying change the formula that made you successful. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what the university is doing, what they've been forced to do, right? University has been forced to do some different things. And because of it, I think the school is growing. I think the school is possibly going to come out on the really good side of this. Look at Wood. He's saying second in baseball spending in the ACC. I was critical, but can't keep Oak at 2.8 million. Right. Well, you know, the money will eventually speak, and you can only do but so much when an SEC school comes and drops a bag
Yeah.
on a coach. What do you know? And only 2 to 3 ACC schools probably could have paid that money, right? Like comfortably and paid it and been like, I mean, Florida State,
Clemson,
Clemson,
maybe Carolina.
maybe Carolina. There you go. You know, and those 3 schools definitely could have done it and not even batted an eye and got a coach like, oh, but you know, SEC, you know, Mississippi State, you know, there's 3 to 4 other schools that some schools in the SEC are better than them, right? There's 3 or 4 schools better than Mississippi State. You know, our top 3 schools, you know, are the ones that could afford them. Mississippi State may even be the 5th or 6th best school in the SEC once everybody's hitting on all cylinders, right?
You don't want to get into a bidding war with an SEC school.
Not at all. And that's where UVA was like, yo, we can't do it, man. He says we can't find 32 scholarship athletes Oak wanted in a sport that operates a loss every year. True. Okay. Yeah.
Not wrong.
Yeah, he's absolutely right on that. But you know, but UVA is that they're doing things, you know, in a different method now because they've been forced to. And if you don't, and Carla Williams made the statement, you know, we got to do better. And a lot of people probably needed to hear her say that.
Speaking of hearing her say that, do you know she has a podcast now?
I saw that. No, well, what is it? Her podcast, or is it? I saw that there's a podcast.
It's through the university, and she is one of the principal people on now. Is it hers? Like the Carla Williams podcast? I don't think so. It's some sort of UVA sports podcast, but she was holding forth about future plans. So
yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
Well, that's one thing that a lot of UVA supporters, fans, fanatics, whatever, had an issue with. Where's her voice? She doesn't talk. You know, we want to hear what she has to say. A lot of people are making comments for her or about her, you know, possibly. But what does she have to say? For her to come out and say, you know, we know that, you know, we got to do better. We know that, you know, football is, you know, the coup de grace. You know, your football program has to be successful. To hear her say that, now we know that she's put that on the record. And now we know that, and she knows that, of course, but she put it on the record, put it out there for all to view, to hear and see, but also knows that we have to win. And now, AB, for you, you know, to hear her say that, you know, how did you feel when you because I'm pretty sure you're like, look, you know, I'm a supporter of winning, but you know, you may not be so much of a fan of the staff, or not to say the staff, but maybe the top staff at the football program. But she really, you know, put it out there that the football program needs to win and we're putting resources towards it and everything.
I mean, yeah, like that's her job. I mean, her job as athletic director is to make sure that we have the right people in the right places for our athletic teams to be successful. I mean, these are kids' futures that we're playing with. You know, I mean, the kids are coming to play football, but they're coming to play football in hopes that this will be their career. And so, you know, that when you don't have a winning team, you don't get the looks that you usually do if you are a winning team. So it's important that you have a successful team, or even if you're an offensive player, you have a top-notch offensive, you know, team, or if you're defensive, have a solid defensive team. Sometimes it's not about winning or losing at the same time. Like if you're a collective whole, you're a top-ranked defense or you're a top-ranked offense, like that helps. But these are kids' futures that we're playing with. So, you know, I feel like the biggest part is her realizing we have to win. It's bigger just for the university, but it's for these kids that are deciding that they want to play here. And if they want to play here, then we need to give them that same respect and produce a good, you know, collective whole team on the field so that everybody's successful.
And if you're not going to do that, then don't waste your time.
Exactly.
Well, you know, for me, you know, looking at and hearing her say that, I think it was something, and my opinion, I felt like she definitely knew that, and but there's something for when a leader makes that statement. It just puts it out there for number one. There's no doubt this is what I mean, and this is what I want the narrative to be, and it's not floating out there that, oh, we're just worried about money, and we're worried about not winning. We're just trying to continue to do the status quo, and we're not trying to be special. This has been stated. Wood is saying, and Wood has been making some great comments about baseball as well on here. He says he's not a big fan of Pollard. Pollard was a home? Excuse me. He said even though Pollard wasn't a fan of him, he was a home run hire. Odom was the best we could have gotten for the circumstances and from the basketball, but we will see. I may have to ride with him on that one. And he says with the money we spent in the portal, Tony will be gone if he doesn't get 7 to 8 wins. And that's and that jives with what she didn't say that, but winning, and the funds coming through. Another thing is the stadium. And AB had made some comments about this earlier on in the pre-show about, the experience. And I'm going to let you take off on that, AB, the fan experience. We're missing, I don't know, how many people in the stadium? 20-some thousand people?
A lot of people.
25?
A lot of people come in disguise as empty seats.
Creeping up to 30-some thousand empty seats in a stadium. Some football stadiums are only 30,000. You know what I mean? Can only take 30-some thousand. Some of the smaller stadiums. But for us to not being able to for having 30,000 open seats, that's painful. That hurts. Eventually down the line. Go ahead, AB. I'm gonna let you go and take this one.
I mean, I think the biggest thing that I was referring to earlier today is that I remember, starting to go into games since a little girl, and being there. Like sometimes as a kid, I didn't pay attention to whether we were winning or we were losing because the game experience itself was fun. Like,
right.
The music was going, the games were going. They found a way to bring the fans into the game to try to keep the energy up. The last year, 2 years, the energy has just been dead. I mean, and it has a lot to do with fans not being in the stands, but at the same time, it's also the responsibility of the media team and the sports and promotions team to find a way to make sure that the games are fun for those who have shown up. I mean, it sucks to watch a team lose. The least you can do is have fun while you're there. And, we've brought alcohol into the stadium now. So, with that, sometimes people love that. That helps them have more fun. But what about us who don't drink? That's not our thing. So what? Where's the fun for us? And I think that also affects the field. I mean, when you have fans that are in the game, that are excited, that are having a good time, like it helps the energy in the stadium. The energy plays into a game.
I've seen that place when it's sold out and when the crowd's into it. It's not Death Valley, but it's a different place than when you've got 30,000 empty seats.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean any stadium is going to be a different place when it's full versus when it's half full. But yeah, they need to hustle a little more. They need to. One of the knocks on UVA has always been that they're a little high-handed with some stuff, and it's they're going to have to scramble a little bit. They're going to have to, they. I think in a lot of respects, I think they're pricing themselves out of the market.
I think
Who wants to pay top dollar for that?
Well, I mean, I think the last couple of years they've been like ranting and raving about like the food and the beer. I'm gonna be honest, the food has not changed. The food has not changed in years.
No,
it's still the same thing. So where they think the food has improved so much, I mean, it's beneficial for somebody like me who shows up to the game, an hour and a half when you can get into the game.
Right.
I think you get an hour and a half early, and I stay until the end of the game. That's 6 hours that I'm in the stadium. So for me, it's in my family, it's important that we are able to get something decent to eat while we're there. And I don't consider a dry ass hot dog as a good meal or Papa John's pizza. Like they don't rant and rave that the food is so much better if it's not. And the variety's not there like they claim it would be. So I think that's something that's also that ties into like the fan experience, is like the food, the drinks, the music, the fan engagement. Like the fan engagement's just been down. Not only has like I said, has the ticket sales been down, but just in general, the teams that are supposed to make the games engaging for the fans, it has not been happening. And shout out to Jamar. He tries.
Yeah, Jamar tries. He really does.
He absolutely tries. And shout out to him because, his energy is great on Saturdays. He does not get enough credit. He brings a lot of energy, but he can't do it by himself. He only does the games and, the in-game things that he's supposed to be doing. But what about the music? What about the hype music? I mean, the lights, me and Law talked about how the lights were definitely an addition for a night game, but how many night games do we really get? So, that's that we put a lot of money into that, and Aaron, that's what I'm saying. The music has been horrible. Like, there's nothing upbeat. Like, yes, as fans, do we love like Sweet Caroline? Sure.
Yeah.
But does the football
sure.
Does the football team? Like, it should be like exciting. Like, I remember we used to play swag surfing, and the whole football team would dance on the side of the.
Yeah, it would get lit up. Yeah, they would light it up.
We don't do anything. It's
well,
for us and
I think for the guy, the lights, he says lights are great, but we suck and play at noon most of it. Well, I made the statement. Listen, I made the statement seriously. Like I said, if we were like a Florida State, I said they made a big investment in those lights for the experience. But we only played one time. We have to change that narrative. And what do I think we got 2 night games? I think we have first game of the year is at 6 o'clock, right? That's a later game. Yeah, close to Carolina. And then there's the one on Friday night. We got a Friday night game. I think that may be FSU. But I'll look at it. But we may have 2 or 3 night games already. And that's going to help contribute to hopefully, this team is playing better, got more talent, paid for it, because that's what the climate is. And maybe we can see some differences here. Speaking of that, with the football program, I'm going to run down some of the recruits. They are on the recruiting trail. They are still working hard. Now, whether or not you are a fan of this regime or not, you're a fan of the regime or not that's here, you got to give it up a little bit for what they're bringing in from recruiting. Now I'm going to run it down right quick. If you guys got a second and just listen, this is what it's going to be. This is what I got. They got a young man, linebacker, Derek, I believe it's Urin. He's a linebacker. They flipped him from Cincinnati, which, you always need backers. Backers are the most versatile, and I'm saying this because I'm a backer, but most backers are typically the most versatile players on the field. You can turn them into tight ends. You can, especially if you have ones that are super talented, like the guy we have in the middle / outside right now. But Derek Urin, you have Jayon Williams, another talented athlete coming in. You have Josiah Teasley, a wide receiver coming in, who committed on June 16th. There's another linebacker, Dallas Bannon, coming in, committed to Virginia. This is all within the last 2 weeks of June to right now. Dylan Cope, another wide receiver, checking in. Let's see here. We have Jaden Coville, another in-state player, checking in. Now, these guys are all 3 stars, and I know some folks are, cautious because, they're not highly ranked, so to speak. But Damari Carter, another wide receiver, is like we're going wide receiver crazy. But one thing about it, when you have wide receivers that are making it in the pros, like Malik Washington, a guy like Malachi Fields, who's going to be a pro. Also, the wide receivers that are there now, I believe, are going to make some strides and also get an opportunity to play on Sundays. That's like 4 receivers, 2 linebackers, and then I also had a lineman. I cannot get his name, but I will get that name out to you as well. But they are on the recruiting trail. They're doing some things here. Let's see here. Chad Wood says, point being, when you win, you play. Yeah, you play at night at least 3:30 for sure. That way you got all day to get drunk. Aaron Mosier, he says, hire me for the music. He got plenty of Mount Up. Okay, I got you, Aaron. I hear you, brother. But yeah, so right now, they're on a recruiting trail. Maybe, of course, the win-loss record isn't what you like, but I like what they're going. I like their recruiting. They're getting more in-state players than they ever have. But also keep in mind that, and that's not saying much, but they're getting more in-state players. But from a transfer portal, they have done well, in my opinion. They got a top 25 transfer portal. And I want to say they brought in a ton of guys in the high 20s amount of players, or mid-20s of players coming in from the transfer portal, coming in to contribute. Of course, that is like eating candy. It'll rot your teeth if you don't backfill with, with young players, because you can't just keep bringing in high dollar free agents, so to speak, and not have them produce or not have enough of them at a reasonable cost, meaning freshman, sophomore, and the like, to build your team from the ground up. But I like what they're doing. I like what they're doing from a recruiting standpoint. So yeah, that was a big segment there, guys. We talked a lot about the state of UVA. Go ahead, AB.
I want to wrap this segment up. Something that I had talked to you about prior to the show.
Sure.
Y'all know me. I'm blunt as can be, and blunt about my opinions. And so before anything starts, I would like to challenge people to do their research and their due diligence and form their own opinions. A lot of times that we have seen in the past, a lot of people see what one person says and they want to piggyback off of that, and they just ride whatever everybody else says. I want to challenge people this year to really dig deep and pay attention and form their own opinions and not be afraid to share it. I mean, not everybody agrees with me, and that's okay. Just like and not everybody's going to agree with you, and that's okay. But I challenge people to form their own opinions this year and not be afraid to voice them. I mean, that's what we're here for, and we're here to piggyback off of each other. So to make this interesting, I just want to challenge people to get in here this year and challenge us with what you think.
Absolutely. Challenge us. We are here. What they say, we're here for it, right? We're here for it, and like I said,
all smoke.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is this as well. I would love to bring more of my viewers and listeners onto the live stream. That way, we want to make it. I mean, we're very interactive now. Look at Chad. Stop it. He says, I disagree with Ed regardless of whatever it is. So he got you behind the 8 ball no matter what, Chad. I mean, no matter what, Ed. So, but what I'm saying is, I would love to bring on more viewers and listeners onto the live stream, so we can have a little bit of a debate, so we can have some conversation. It's always good. And if y'all got something, throw it in the chat, and we'll speak about it, and we'll, we'll get to it, and we'll have a good time with it. So, we talked about, the state of the University of Virginia sports and where they are. We talked about Ms. Williams and her statement and her podcast, or on a podcast. We also talked about, the football team. I just talked about a little bit of the recruiting. So we got football in the next 60 days kicking off, which we're talking about practice starting in less than 45 or 30 days. What are we, July? Yeah. We got practice coming fast approaching, end of July. I believe practice, someone can correct me on this, but I think, what is it? Practice starts at August first week in August, I believe. And they're gonna be ready to go. That's 3 weeks away, man. That's 3 weeks away. We're ready to get this party started, and and that's why we're firing up as well. But I got a question to ask all of you. Are you excited? Are you in or are you out on this season? There's been so much turmoil with Virginia sports in general, as we said before. But are you excited about this football season? Are you in or are you out? There's been more change with this program than there ever has. There's been a huge philosophy shift with University of Virginia sports, especially with football. It's almost like, with this NIL transfer portal, UVA's jumped in with 2 feet, and no one can take that from them. So with that being said, let me come to you, Ed. What is your opinion on this, man? How do you feel about this football? That's a football season that's about to start. Are you in right now, or are you out, or does it have to build for you to build the trust for it? Or give me your opinion.
I want to see something. It's we've had, I want to say excuses. Chad would say excuses, but I won't. It's been disappointing. Be the best way to put it. Dumb stuff that we don't seem to have a plan a lot of the times, and to me it's not a recruiting thing. Like the wide receiver. I can't think of the young man that transferred to Fields, Malachi Fields.
Malachi.
Yeah, other teams. Everybody knows we're throwing the ball to Malachi, so we don't throw the ball to Malachi. Other teams scheme ways to get guys like Malachi open. Why aren't we doing that? Stuff like that. And that's we can talk about NIL, we can talk about recruits and so on and so forth. If you give the guy all the tools that he can't fix your car, what are we doing here? I'd like to see something before I get too excited. If he doesn't do it this year, you're out of excuses, I think.
I got to bring you in, AB. And I was about to give my opinion, but I'd like to hear your opinion, AB, on this.
So, I haven't given up on UVA football, but something that you can't get back is time. And family is everything. So I'm going to try to come to some UVA games, but I have family. And part of my family, I think I had mentioned this before, is at William & Mary. And so I will be probably more at William & Mary games because, tomorrow's not promised. And
AB,
yeah.
Have you been to games with William & Mary before?
No.
You're going to love it.
Well,
trust me, you're going to love it.
Part of our heart is there. My big bro, Keenan, is one of the defensive coaches for William & Mary. And, through the last year, some things has happened. We lost Corey Mosley unexpectedly this year. And just a lot of things have happened, both in my life and his life. And you can't get that time back. So I want to be the supportive sis that I should be, and want to be able to go down and see him coach, see Coach London, see Perry Jones. There's, Daryl Blackstock. There's a lot of people that have been intricate members of our family that, supported us for a long time. And I feel like they deserve our support as well. So,
not to mention the guys at Norfolk State.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Roy, you got E down there. You got, all the way down, Hampton Roads. There's a lot of Virginia influence.
But on top of that, I call him my nephew. I've always called him my nephew since the day he was born. But Keenan's oldest, Keenan Jr. KJ is what we call him. He is actually just going to be a sophomore. And currently this kid is ranked number 2 for his position, which is quarterback. He has offers from ECU, Syracuse, Howard, William and Mary, Sacramento State. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at his his Instagram too. Missouri State, Delaware State. Like, the kid is talented. And again, this is family, and I love that kid. Like I said, he was one of my first little I guess you call him nephews, and I just love him to death. And I feel like I have a very special bond with him, and I feel like he only gets to go through high school once. And I want to be supportive of him too. So I've already talked to my mom. We're going to be leaving and going down on some Fridays and watching him play on Friday nights, and then going and watch Keenan and William and Mary on Saturdays. So I still have love for UVA. But like I said, tomorrow's not promised. So I'll be going to William and Mary and supporting my family.
Well, you might be able to do a triple dip based off of when William and Mary is playing. Based off of when KJ Junior's playing, when William and Mary's playing, and then you might be able to catch UVA at evening, nighttime. So you might be able to do a triple dip, based off of your schedule.
That's a lot, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, what is it? You have what is it? It's only an hour and 20 minutes away. 15 minutes up the street. You can catch a UVA game as well. So it'd be a lot to do, though. It would definitely be a lot.
A lot to do in like 24 hours.
the way to do it, like you said, is to go down Friday and just work your way backwards, and then of course you probably would have to stay. That's some crazy stuff that I would do, but you would stay in the probably stay somewhere in between Charlottesville and home if especially if it's a night game. But yeah, this is definitely something to look at. Wood says UVA is in my blood, so we'll cheer for them and hope for the best. It will be interesting to watch. This is what I got to say, and that's from Wood. My opinion on it is, I talked about the change, the shift in what UVA has started doing and has done. If you guys please go back and check the tape, I asked the question, is UVA willing to sell their soul to the football gods and be one of these programs that will hit the NIL hard, will hit the transfer portal hard, will be one of these schools that is totally advertising the brand as a football destination? And maybe they're not, the premier destination in the Mid-Atlantic, but I think they are pointed in that direction to try to obtain it to whatever level they can get to. I think that UVA is trying actively to get in that direction because this is the way of college football right now. So I like it. I talked about change. Change is growth. UVA is going to stand on their principles, right? Stand 10 toes down, whatever that old that crazy statement people are saying now, right? People are, UVA is going to be UVA. But the shift, Wood says, still won't budge on academics. So no. To me, based off of what's been happening, I'm not saying that they're budging on academics, but they're doing something different. I think that, what was it? Someone told me they're adjusting admission times and when players.
You used to never see mid-year admissions.
What was that? Go ahead, say that.
You used to never see mid-year admissions.
There you go.
I mean, these kids coming in January, you never saw that, and now it's not happening. It's not happening every day, but it's happening.
Compared to what UVA used to do, it's a flood.
Yeah. Oh, compared to what they used to do, it's
yep.
Well, I mean, transfers. Just getting transfers in here.
Mm-hmm.
that's not a small thing.
Not at all. Not for this
So
school.
they are budging. They're not. You're never going to have a major in basket weaving, but you'll. I think they're going to get a little more, not lenient, but maybe a little more understanding
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as
Lenient isn't the word.
what,
You're right. It's
yeah,
a understanding of, you want to come here, we want you to come here. Let's
yeah,
work on some things to see if we can make it work, instead of well, if it doesn't work perfectly until you don't fit so much into
yeah,
this UVA puzzle, we like you be here, but we're sorry. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Maybe it seems like they're working with it a little bit more to get
I'm
some more of
sorry,
the
kid, but
talent here.
the English department at Elon is just not up to snuff.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah,
happy to see some of these differences, and not to
yeah,
mention basketball. We didn't get to the basketball yet, and maybe we'll segue into the basketball, right? So
okay,
basketball, Coach Odom, and Chad said it earlier. This was about as good of a situation based off of a legend like Tony Bennett retiring young from UVA basketball, to bringing in Sanchez, having the whole program dumped in his lap pretty much 2 or 3 weeks before the season started, and then bringing in someone who not quite homegrown, but is a UVA home guy, a guy
connections,
who,
yeah,
has UVA roots, understands that what UVA standards are and what to do, has it all running through his blood, from a legacy standpoint, but also changing the philosophy. That is, to get UVA fan base to understand that this isn't Tony Bennett anymore. Tony Bennett, when they say that old school thing, Tony Bennett's not walking through that door.
yeah,
So I'm changing everything. And Tony is a legend, and I'm not trying to run behind a legend and run the system. Because, let's face it, Sanchez had what he had. The players were recruited off of that. The players are playing off of that. They only retained one player who in reality, Elijah Gertrude, was a player that Odom would have recruited, based off of his athleticism and his style of play. He's more of a full court type player than a
yeah,
half court player, right?
yeah,
So that's the one reason I think Elijah was like, "Holy shit!" I'm getting the
yeah,
person in here who's a full court kind of a coaching style. This is
yeah,
gonna fit me even more. The kid's a high flyer, not to mention also, let's not sweep this under the rug. The kid was injured, so
yeah.
he had to get,
Not go Dickie V on it.
yeah, he had to get healthy. But let me talk to you, AB. Speak to me about the basketball program. Tell me what you think about it. And being that they just picked up, I believe it's Theus de Ritter, from Belgium, a possible NBA player. And of course, I don't care if the kid gets drafted in the second round, first round, whatever. If a kid was projected to get drafted, regardless of what round, that means that he's one of the best players in his conference, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but again, it comes down to what I had said before. Like, you can have all the greatest players in the world, but it's the coach that puts the product on the court or on the field. So we don't know this coach yet. We don't know what he's capable of putting together for our team. So I think it's really, I think it's too early to really say what we expect. I mean, we got to see how we start off, and we haven't seen anything yet to really gauge on our expectations. I mean, we know that he has been somewhat successful in where he's been in the past, but this is UVA, so what do? What about your assistants? Like, do you have what you need to be successful at this level? So we'll see.
Let me come to you, Ed. Tell me your opinion. What do you think, Ed?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I've said before, Coach Bennett's style was not necessarily my preference, but you really couldn't argue with the results. And I'd much rather win boring than lose exciting. I had enough of that when Pete Gillen was here. Um, so his style, he's fairly consistent as far as his style of basketball. It's not Paul Westhead, run and gun, but it definitely is up tempo. It definitely is a much more aggressive, almost an overplay defense. Um, it's going to be a very different look uh, than what UVA fans are used to. Um, like I said, we're not going to be Loyola Marymount or anything like that, but it's definitely going to be 94 feet. It's definitely going to be a much more up tempo. I don't think we'll be walking the ball up a whole lot.
I like
That's my preference as far as systems go.
Well, walking it up.
No. I like 94 feet.
No, okay, me too. I like both types. I just want the talent to.
I like winning.
Right. But I want the talent to match, right, the style. We kind of had a little bit of a difference, with some players running the system, but you're gonna get that when we're talking about the NIL. You're gonna get something you think is something, but then it's gonna change. I think because there was such a clean slate, Odom was able to go out and say, all right, I'm up tempo. Who wants in? All right, you're in. Let me see your film. You're in. This is what I want. This guy. And he wanted bigs that could shoot. He wanted a couple bigs who can defend and block shots, but he wanted some bigs who could shoot. And that's where the two European kids come in.
Yeah, the Belgian kid I heard him described today as a 3-level scorer. Mm-hmm. I had to go look that up. But
right.
He's pretty much a complete player, at least from the offensive standpoint, and from what I understand, he's a fairly gifted rebounder. So, I'm always saying no rebounds, no rings. So, it's if you've got a rebound pig, that's a really a key element that you need those guys.
You also think about the wing aspect, the players that he has on the wing. I like all the players he brought in that are that can shooters, just straight up shooters. I'm very interested, very excited to see what we get from Coach Odom and this team. He's got a little bit of time here to see if we can mesh all those styles together, and most of them seem like they're going in the right direction as far as what he wants to mold them into. So let's see where this shakes out, man. I'm optimistic about this basketball program. So yeah, let's see what Coach Odom takes this team. So we had talked about also President Ryan a little bit earlier. Now, this is a topic that we can table until next week because it's not going anywhere. Because I talked about all the changes. Are you happy with your new UVA or are you not? UVA being a institution of consistency, conservativeness, and of what history, ton of history, dating back to the birth of this, the birth of this country and a forefather, bringing, the university to life. So this is something that we could possibly table, because we're already an hour and 4 minutes in. But this is really big. It's a really big situation, and like I said, we do talk some sports, but it's not every day you lose your president of a university as esteemed and important as University of Virginia is for the state here. So let's go ahead and table that, and we'll talk about it, and we'll post some things to let everybody know. Come on in and make sure you tune in to the show next week, and we'll discuss the departure of the president. Also, we'll talk about some other things we have coming up. Who's into betting? Who's into
you're supposed to be like exciting announcing this. Come on now.
I'm excited, but I want to make sure that people are understanding what we're trying to do here. With the advent of betting becoming as popular as it is, becoming as much of a staple of anything that is involved with any sport in the world, whether it be college, pro, even amateur sports, looks like we may be launching a brand of sports betting show under the Seven City Shop Talk brand, and looks like AB may be hosting it. So AB, let's go ahead and let you spearhead a little bit of this to the crowd.
So I'm super excited, just because I've always, like, I've talked to Law about trying to find something that I'm good at to be able to, like, kind of have my own show or really, like, partner with him on a show. And we were talking earlier and we decided that we were going to launch, which we're not going to release the name of it yet, but it's pretty freaking cool. But we are going to try to figure out a day to where we can all get together and talk about what we like for both college and pro football. We are definitely going to need co-hosts that specialize in certain areas. So, for example, mine is anytime touchdown scores. So, somebody who can come in and work with us on stats, who's good on spreads, good on the analytics side, the spreads, the money lines. Like, those are things we need to make this kind of like kick off. We're looking to, like, somebody having that section. So, like, the anytime touchdown, if anybody is good with that and wants to partner with me, like, we do our own little section where, we have, like, our locks, and then, we have, like, the to the moon play, something that we all can put our minds together and put bets together that maybe we weren't thinking about. So it'll be an open forum still, for everybody to get in with, but you'll also have an opportunity to kind of tell what we like for the week. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do this. But we definitely are looking for people who are bettors like us, who want to join in and take part of our show.
Yeah. This is going to be cool, everyone. I think, like I said, the advent and the movement of sports betting, and it was inevitable at this point, that we were gonna thinking about starting this and trying to get it off the ground, but it's so much out there, and I'm sure that there are folks that may not want to be a part of, like, the sports information, sports entertainment piece of it, like Seven City Shop Talk Sports is, but there's going to be a piece for you if you are just about your numbers and your sports betting and your money making. So we are going to put this together. We're going to give you an opportunity to put your lines out, get some tails where people can, we can conversate about what lines are good, what lines are bad, what good bets to take, and we can share our successes and share our failures as well, because people who truly bet know that most of it's failure. But if we can share our successes, that means we all win as well. So be on the lookout. It's probably going to come to you pretty quick, because, you think about the football season starting in less than 60 days. And it'll be based off of definitely college football, pro football, maybe even some basketball. I mean, it just depends on how it progresses and how the rest of it evolves. We want it to evolve organically, so that's why we want to put it out there. We're looking for co-hosts for the betting show. I don't think you're interested in that, Ed, and maybe Wood. I don't think Wood has right. I don't think Wood has anything to do with it, or Ethan or some others. But we're looking for some co-hosts as well for the betting brand, and we'll put some posts out looking for co-hosts for the betting show, the Seven City Show. But we don't want to let too much more out before we can put some they say boots on the ground. We can solidify a little bit more. But
if you're a degenerate gambler or you know one, send them our way.
Yeah, if you know one, you can definitely send them our way. But yes, on the show, on the way, a betting show from Seven City Shop Talk Sports brand.
Don't come in here if you lose every weekend, because we're not trying to do that. We're trying to win money. We're trying to come together and all have one heck of a winning football season. So
as a collective,
come in with us and let's collab and work together and help other people win. But if you're one of those people that put 20 things on a ticket every single weekend and expect to win, this is probably not the podcast for you. This is for people who want to put, $25 on a 4-pick, something that we can actually win off of. So, of course, we're going to have our 20 picks.
What'd you say, Ed?
So you're looking for serious degenerate gamblers.
This is serious. This is serious. We're not trying to lose money. Wait until you find out the name of the podcast. Okay.
You're not looking for people who throw mashed potatoes against the wall and see what sticks. You want serious targeted gamblers. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we'll be talking lines. We'll be talking all kinds of stuff. That's where we'll also be talking some of the analytics. Some folks that are good at, and have a really good statistical background where they can say, all right, and someone who's good at the historical piece of it. This is what this player has done
against the record against the spread on a rainy Tuesday.
There you go. And always, this is what they've done for the past 10 games. You can count on this. Let's go ahead and book this, book that. We're looking for that person to join the 7 City Shop Talk Bet Squad. So let's go ahead and wish on it, and hopefully we get some people that are degenerates like us, right, AB?
Let's throw some money around together.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, got any closing remarks, Ed? I'm coming to you first. Anything you got to say in your closing monologue?
Like I said, I'm encouraged, but I've been a Virginia fan long enough to know that they're gonna break my heart somehow. The question is, how and when? They will. Okay, it's Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football.
No.
The question is, when is she going to pull the football away? I'm cautiously optimistic in a lot of respects. Like I said, I don't know what kind of team Ryan Odom is going to put together, but it's not going to be boring, that's for sure. I would really like to see a complete game plan from Tony Elliott. Hopefully we will get that. But like I said, you're running out of excuses. But the baseball coach, again, that's like, dear God, I'm agreeing with Chad. All things considered, I think that's probably about the best you could have expected.
Right.
So I'm cautiously optimistic.
Let me come to you, AB. Your closing monologue.
Can we get some football season coming, and can we make some money? Because I'm ready for it. I'm over summer already. Bring on football.
All right. Yeah, I'm ready for football too. Shout out to my man, James Watson, friend of the show. Always tunes in, always supportive. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Good seeing you, man. He says, I hope y'all are having a great summer, as always. But yeah, my opinion, closing monologue here is, what I have to say is, yes, summer is here. Enjoy your summer. We are going through a record heat wave here in the state of Virginia. And remember 6 months ago, we were bitching and whining about how cold it was and how much snow we had. So, let's go ahead and enjoy our bipolar state when it comes to weather. And it's okay. We'll get through this as well. But like AB said, like Ed saying, hey, let's get to football season. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. It's been a while. We had a little break, a little bit of a hiatus, but it's time to go and strap it up, buckle up, tighten up those cleats, and let's get it going, man. Let's get it going. But I can't do it without any of my co-hosts. Thank you guys for coming in as you do week in, week out for the support. All my viewers and listeners out there, thank you as well. We're jumping back in, man. We're going back in for you. This is another year, another season coming through. We also would like for, as interactive as we are, we want it to be even more interactive. If you guys get an opportunity, even send us a message letting us know you want to be on the show. We'll send you the link maybe ahead of time to come on the screen and speak as well, to be a special co-host on the show, because I have a lot of long-term listeners that maybe want to speak on the air live with us. So we definitely can get you on there. But lot of big things coming, a lot of cool things coming. We got some more interviews that we've all talked about as well that we're going to try to bring you. But we got to thank all of you for hanging out with us and joining us for this week. But thank all of you for just giving us your time as always. But as of now, this shop is closed. Thank you guys. We love you guys. And we will see you next week. Let's get this ball rolling. Thank you. Bye-bye.